Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and once again coming to you not quite live from One Take Studios, which again looks an awful lot like my dining room table today. Today's topic is adding and subtracting with negative numbers. I wanted to make this the title with negative numbers because if I use that phrase, people typically know what that means. I do also want to look at the word integers today, however, because that word scares a lot of people, and it's really just a scary sounding word. It just talks about negative numbers and positive numbers. So what I wrote out here is the set of negative numbers. The funny looking parentheses, that's called set notation. If you turn them sideways, they kind of look like seagulls. And if we look at this, this is saying dot, dot, dot. In other words, this continues forever and ever, and that's happening at both ends. This list goes on forever and ever. And this is simply a list of numbers. 0, and then positive numbers, 1, 2, 3, and because of the dots, this will continue, 4, 5, 6, to eternity. On the left, 0, -1, -2, dot, dot, dot. This will also continue, -3, -4, -5, -6, forever and ever. So when we talk about adding and subtracting with negative numbers, we're talking about integers. We're talking about using these numbers right here. Notice what is not included. There are no decimals and no fractions in our integer setup here. All right, I have highlighted a negative sign right here because I actually have given it 3 different titles, and it's important to recognize the flexibility of this symbol because this can be a negative sign. This can also be a subtraction sign. This can also refer to the opposite. Which one is correct? The answer is yes. All of them. And the more flexible your brain can be, the better off you're going to be. Because sometimes we can see it as a negative sign, or sometimes a subtraction sign, or sometimes we can see it as opposite. And if we can work our brain between these different modes here, we're going to be able to understand this better than just trying to have our brain locked in with one specific thing. I have some examples I'd like to walk you through today, and I'm going to walk through those examples in multiple formats because I'm not sure what your brain is going to like the best. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways to view these problems, and you can pick whatever you like. So my first example is -4 plus 3. Again, these are just integers. We're adding them together. And this is a number line. And if I start with -4, well, okay, in a number line, if I start at 0 and I go to -4, so I'm starting here and going to -4, -1, -2, -3, -4, stop. All right, so I just went this direction and I stopped at -4. Well, now I want to add to that a positive 3. So if -4 is to the left and negative is to the left, where is positive? Positive is to the right. But I don't want to start at 0 and go to the right. I want to start at where I'm currently sitting. So I went -4 and I stopped here. Now from here, I'm going to go into a positive direction. And I'm going to go 3 back. 1, 2, 3, and stopping right there. So I started at 0. I went to the left 4 places because -4, negative, left is a negative direction. And then from there went positive 3 into this direction. And again stopped once I'd gone as far as 3. So the question then becomes, where am I? This is at -1. So what is the answer to my problem? The answer is -1. -4 plus 3 is -1. If you like to think that through with the number line in your brain, go for it. It'll work every time. This is another perspective on the same problem. This is saying, all right, I've got -4 plus 3. Let's for a second make our brain flexible. And let's not look at this as a negative sign. Let's think of these in terms of opposites for a moment. We have positives and negatives, and those are opposites of each other. What do opposites do to each other? Off and on, left and right, they kind of undo each other, don't they? Opposites undo each other. So if I have a positive and I have a negative, together they'll undo each other. Well, this says that I have 4 negatives. So 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. This says I've got 3 positives. 1, 2, 3 positives. So again, I have 4 negatives, I have 3 positives. What do a negative and a positive do to each other? They undo each other. Those guys undo each other. Undo each other. Boom, gone. What's left? Just this one guy here. There's nothing to undo it. And what column is he in? He's in our negative column. Therefore, -1 is my answer, because it's the only thing that hasn't been canceled out. It's the only thing that hasn't been undone. There's one negative left over in this process. Notice, different perspective, same answer. The third perspective I want to show you is from a money situation. A lot of people struggle with numbers until you put money, and all of a sudden money makes numbers make sense. So this might work for you. If I have a negative dollar amount, this indicates money that is owed. So this right here says that I owe $4. It's money that I do not have, but I owe. So that's negative. I owe $4. But this says that I have, let's do it this way, I have $3. Positive is money I have. Negative is money I owe. Well, let's think about it. If you're talking to somebody, you're talking to your friend, you borrowed maybe some money for lunch, and you owe them $4, but you have $3. What happens if you give your $3 to your friend? Do you have money left over? Nope. You still owe them money. How much money do you owe them? You owe $1 more. So as a result of that, since I have $4 that I owe to somebody, but I paid them with the $3, my $3 is now gone, and I only owe $1. Actually, let me write it this way. As a result of this transaction, I now owe $1, which is indicated again as a negative number because it's money that I owe. So I owed $4, I had $3, I paid part of what I owed, I owe $1 remaining, there's -1. So if you look, we got 3 different perspectives, all giving us the exact same answer to this problem. Again, however your brain works with this, that's fine, whatever you like. Let's try another example, shall we? This time, our example is -1 plus -2. Ooh, how is this different from last time? Last time we had a negative and a positive, now we have a negative and a negative. Too often people spend time in their brains trying to make up patterns and memorize things that don't mean a lot. So my encouragement here is that you actually really make this mean something. If we go from the perspective of our number line again, I'm going to kind of do this, I think. Do a squiggle through here, squiggle to separate our last example from our new example so we don't run them together. All right, so we've got a -1. Well, we start at 0, and negative again is a direction to the left. So we start here, we go -1, and we stop. So we've just gone to the left, -1, we stopped at -1. This says that I want to go negative again. So now we're talking to the left, again, negative is left, 2 more spots. So I'm going to continue going to the left, 1, 2, and now I'm going to stop here. Last time, we went to the left and the right because we had a negative and a positive. This time we have a negative and a negative. So we're talking -1 and then -2 more. This is our final stopping place. What number is that? That is -3. Therefore, our answer is -3. If we look at that from the perspective of our table here, they're positives and negatives. Again, this idea that these are opposites and they will cancel each other out. This says I have 1 in the negative column, but then I also have 2 more that are negative, negative and negative. Okay, so what's going to cancel out here? That's right. Nothing. I have no positives at all. I've got nothing to undo the negatives. So what do I have? I have 3 negatives. And again, there's my same answer. Different perspective, same number, -3. If I look at this through the lens of money, this says that I owe $1. But then it also says that I, also owe $2. Well, shoot, they're both negative, so I owe $1 maybe to one friend, and I owe $2 to another friend. How much money do I owe? Well, if I owe $1 and $2, that means that I now owe a grand total of $3. And again, because that's something I owe, it's -3. That's it. All right, we're going to do one more example, last one, I promise. And this one is a bit of a doozy because look at what I did to us. Ooh, I got 3 numbers now instead of 2, and some interesting things are at play here. Again, I'm going to squiggle this so that we just can separate our problems so we don't get too confused here. Excuse me. I have a -3 plus 5, so that one's a positive. Ooh, what is this? What is this? A negative and a negative. Well, how flexible is your brain? Go back to this again. All right? That sign could be a negative sign, could be a subtraction sign, could mean the opposite. I would like you to view this one as the opposite for right now, and we'll just call this a -2. So let me ask you this. What is the opposite of -2? The opposite of -2 is +2. So this is still a -3. This is still a +5 or a +5, but I have the opposite of a negative, which is a positive. So really, this is the same thing as +2. As far as what I'm looking at for my number line, -3, I think I'm going to go below my number line this time. Starting at 0, -3. 1, 2, 3, stop. But now I'm going 5 to the right. Again, left, negative, right, positive. So I'm going to go from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stopping right here. There we go. And then, oh goodness, I need a drink of water. Again, positive. So 2 more to the right and stop right there. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get a drink of water and you're going to tell me what you think the answer is. Hold that thought. Like I said, this is One Take Studios. Life happens. What did you decide? We had a -3, so that was 3 to the left. And then from there, a +5, counting 5 spots over. And then from there, counting +2 again, 2 more to the right. The answer should be 4. Is that what you said? Hopefully you did. Can I do that with my plus and minus table? Sure, why not? I might have to get a little bit squishy here because I'm at the bottom of my paper. But yeah, I can make this work. So positives, negatives, let's see what we can squish to this thing. We are talking on the negative side. We have 1 negative, another negative, another negative, so there's 3 negatives. On the positive side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then we also have another 2 on the positive side. Squish, can we see that? There we go. So because this is the opposite of a negative, this was a positive, so these are both positives, and the 3 is negative. Positive and negative will undo each other. Gone, gone, gone. What do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4 in the positive column. Therefore, 4 is my answer, same as last time. If we think about this in terms of money for a second, we can do that too. We can say, hey, I owe my friend $3 for a Slurpee and snack after school, but I have $5 for my allowance, and I just found $2 on the sidewalk. So what does this mean? If I had $5 and I found 2 more on the sidewalk, I have $7 whole. And if I have $7, I can pay back my friend the 3 and still have $4 remaining. All right, so again, these are just different perspectives, ways to think about this. Whatever works for your brain is great because your brain and my brain are not the same. And God made us that way. So there we go. All right, so have fun practicing with this and feel free to go back and reference things as necessary.